Hey everyone, it's Sami from Sami's Sweet Life, and there are garbage trucks and all sorts of things going on, so you might hear some crazy stuff in the background. I already actually did this week's plan with me, so here it is. I don't know if I just forgot to film it or something went wrong, something went buggy, but I already have the whole plan with me done. And so instead of this, we're going to talk about my to-do listing and task management. Right now, I'm just using an A6 planner. This is the Hobonichi Hone, and I just use this as my down and dirty to-do listing. It doesn't look pretty. It's kind of all over the place. There's no sense of this column is for hourly stuff. This column is for something else. It's just, I write things usually starting at the top, but not necessarily. Some days, don't even use it. Some days, I have different colored pens. Some days I have two lists going. Sometimes I leave spaces. I have little collections. I had one on this last Saturday or Sunday. I'm covering up today, but here I've got a little list for my Sunday prep. It just really depends. I stick stickers in here, especially when Stella puts stickers on me. I tend to stick them in here, but I don't really decorate this. I don't do anything fancy aside from use some sort of fountain ink. Now I ended up filling this one up. I don't even know what color this one is actually right offhand, but I'll insert it down below for you guys because I've talked about it in other videos, I know. But I decided I wanted to use up the whole thing. I just really like the color, and so I'm working on using up the last little tiny bit of it. I use this for journaling and also for this to-do listing, and I also used it in here, which I'll talk about in a second. But I really like that I don't have to worry about making this neat or organized. It's just basically like a brain dump, or tasks go in here. Now I'm thinking about adding in a little bit of a digital component so I can take this with me on the go. This one's just a nice size book for me. So I have this old digi planner. I've talked about this in a lot of videos, but I still have an iPad Pro, which is a lot bigger size, but I ended up upgrading to an iPad mini, which is not much of an upgrade because it's actually smaller, but I really wanted something more form-fitting, something more portable for me to carry around, and this fit the bill. So I was able to import my old GoodNotes stuff. This is the GoodNotes program, but I don't have any of my fonts and things in here. So the program's a little bit different from when I had it before. This is a newer version. I have some of my fonts, like this one is one that's just a default font, and then this one was a nice swirly one. It was watermelon script or something similar to that. It just defaulted to a regular old font, and I'm trying to see where to even get the font. It was on the screen right before filming this. All right, I was mid-chatting and the camera totally cut me off. I ran out of space on the camera and did not realize it, so I've already filmed this once. We're gonna just go back and pretend like I haven't already filmed this, but I could not figure out where the fonts are, and now all of a sudden it's showing up, so I have no idea. But it only has default fonts on the iPads, straight out of the box, so I have to go and import them again. I have talked about this in other videos, so I can go watch my own videos because I do not remember how to do it right offhand, but I want to get my scripty fonts back on these parts that went to default font. These ones down here are the American typewriter, so they're still the right font, but you can go in and there's ways to do it. I just right offhand don't know the ways. And I'm very happy with this setup. I love that the Apple Pencil still fits on the side. I've been wanting an iPad mini for the longest time, and only the last generation or two they've had the Apple Pencil connectivity with the magnet. I know they have the one where you can stick it in the little port, but I didn't want that kind, so I already have the Pencil. It went with my iPad Pro, and I still have this, still use this. Not so much for digital planning, but Liv and I actually play games on these together. So that's fun that we can both use them. As far as incorporating this in as a daily planner or a notes taker, I have been out and about with this and been able to take notes for future video ideas and things. And also I have lots of different templates and stuff already saved from the years I did use this digital planning and project planning. I've got meal plans. I had a freezer inventory in my last backup version of this, fitness stuff. I've got tons of stuff saved in here already. So they have changed GoodNotes to be more of a subscription-based model. I did end up just purchasing it outright. It was like 20 something, 20, 25, somewhere in there. I just went ahead and purchased it. I am not a fan of any subscription-based things. You have to pay for them, and then as soon as you stop paying every month, you lose access or lose whatever it is. So I just bought it outright. That way I can use however many planners I want and things. There are also people shouting outside, so I can hear it. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but this is just Hot Mess Express video. But I love being able to do digital planning stuff. You can see this backup. I have November 2019 type of things in here. I opened the little Today tab. I can change these out as needed, but for now, this was the template I was using. I just really love being able to have this out on the go because the fountain ink is just not a great option for something you're going to jot down really quick. So I do have this. I can write down notes as I go and as I need to do things, but you have to let it dry for a second. I can't really quickly whip out the fountain pen, write something, and then close my book without it smearing on both sides of the page. So I don't feel like this is the greatest option to just have as like a quick notes or to-do list thing when I'm out and about. So I feel like this is a fun, healthy compromise. I can do as much note-taking and to-do listing when I'm out and about, and then I can also just have this one at home, and this one just follows me around the house. I just carry it around and just add to it as needed. I haven't been the best at checking things off. Let's see, and I use it for like notes. I was showing Olivia a multiplication trick. She was writing in here. Some days I don't even use it. 90% of the time, 99% of the time, I don't check off anything. I just have my little brain dump, go down the list and do things and mentally check things off. But I tried to checklist things off, and then I didn't like how like messy and weird that it looked. And I also could dot pin them because I love using the dot pins as a checklist thing, but then I have to keep the dot pin with me, whereas with this I just have the one pin system going, and I love being able to just clip it to the front and I have it with me whenever I need it. But I could do it and make it a lot prettier. I could have a highlighter with me or something, or a dot pin, but I just haven't. At this point I just use it as just a to-do listing thing. You can see there's nothing super exciting about it. It's just kind of boring and plain, and I love that it can be messy and it's not something I want to like look pretty. Like this one, I refer to this one as my day-to-day schedule, and it's pretty and it's decorative and I like how it looks. It makes me happy. This one is just pretty on the cover, and the ink itself is pretty, and then the inside can be whatever it wants. So I like that down and dirty aspect of it. And that is it as far as like doing to-do listing and task management. So let's talk fountain ink really quick. I have just stuck using the fountain inks in Tomoe River paper planners. So the Hobonichis, the Sterling inks, Aurora Estelles, those type of planners, because they have the paper that's really fountain ink friendly. Of course it ghosts through, but it doesn't actually bleed through. I actually said at first, of course it bleeds through, but it doesn't actually bleed through, but you can totally see it behind the paper. That's just something I think is really beautiful about this paper, is it does have that little ghosting and it makes it look worn, and there's something beautiful about it to me. I just really like that. But I haven't used the fountain ink on any plain old regular papers, just the Tomoe River paper for me specifically. And now I tested it out in my Franken planner this last week when I was doing my goals and reflections. I tested it out on the Erin Condren paper, and I tested it out on the Moxie Life paper. Those are the two 7x9 planners I merged together to make this Franken planner. So here is a look at the fountain ink, and I picked a pretty dark color. This is a nice deep color. I'll insert the name. I don't know what it is right offhand, but it's a nice deep color, and I have one main spot where it really sunk in and absorbed into the paper, but there are a couple other spots where it has absorbed in, but nothing actually bled all the way through the paper. And I do get a little bit of ghosting here and there with those little shadowy pieces that have absorbed in, but nothing bled all the way through. So I would count that as a win, and I would totally use fountain inks and fountain pens in this paper moving forward, because I feel like that's totally fine. You guys know the ghosting and stuff doesn't bother me, and any kind of darker pens sometimes will ghost through the paper, but nothing actually bleeds through, or at least very few things ever bleed through. And I was super impressed that the fountain ink also didn't bleed through. And now as far as the Erin Condren, I tested it out on the monthly page because my weekly pages have been strictly just black ink. Like every week is just black ink. I like it like that. And this one, I could totally do it as a colorful thing, or I can make these spreads more colorful. But this was just my test run. So I wrote in a couple of things. Again, same really dark fountain ink, and nothing bled all the way through. I've got one little area, I guess that's like the eye. I think it's the eye that bled through some of the way. but the rest is just ghosting. You can see the ghosting through. That doesn't bother me at all, like I said, but that part was the closest to a bleed through that I've gotten on the paper, and it doesn't bother me. It didn't bleed all the way through. It's not on this side of the paper. It's just inside the paper, like in the middle of the paper, and that doesn't bother me at all. So I would totally use this moving forward on the Erin Condren paper and also on the Moxie Life paper. So that was a fun discovery I made this weekend. So I will definitely be playing around more with my fountain ink and fountain pens in these pages, which is really fun. I really like to do my goals and reflections, especially the reflections page, with a colorful pen. So now I can definitely make these ones more colorful and fun. So I hope you guys like this look at the randomness and task management stuff. I still have tons of stuff on my desk that still needs to be organized. I did a haul video and I haven't organized any of these Hobonichi kits. I'm actually into the last week of March as of me filming this. It's the Monday actually of the plan with me I have for you guys next week, and it is using Parisian Cafe. So I've got Parisian Cafe stuff sitting out, and also the Rainbow Unicorns is also part of that week. So the plan with me stuff is still out and about. I still got this because I took stuff with me to the dance studio while I was sitting and worked on planning, and I got some of April done. So I will end up having an April decorate and prep planner type video for you guys coming up the first part of April, and that's part of it is me carrying around some stuff and doing some things on the go. Okay, the last topic of conversation I have is ink swatching. So I'm knee-deep in fountain inks. I love playing around with them and swatching them. I ended up getting all of them like down and dirty swatched in this book. This is where I film it and show you guys what the inks look like right off the bat. So I had a lot of fun with this, and then I also got them all in my like nicer ink swatch book. And this, by the way, is why I don't love the sticker seals. I always want to call them sticker steals, like just because it's a tongue twister, but they just come off. They don't work the greatest on covers. Like the vinyls, they stay put and they're great, but these sticker seals just don't. Anyway, this is my fountain ink pretty swatch book. So I've got all of them organized by color here. Sometimes in the bottle or the swatches online don't do the inks justice. So seeing the bigger swatches in here, I can decide what color groupings they are in here. Certain ones, like I've got 2 different pages of pink. I've got an aqua, a teal, and a blue. So all the blue tone ones have to be separated out according to my colorfulness. Also light and dark purple. So I've got those all in here. They're all swatched in the nice orderly fashion in the colorful sections. And then I ended up doing all of these. I finally finished it this last week. So this was a labor of love, getting all of them watercolor swatched. I've shown this in other videos where I do the pure ink with just like a paintbrush, then dip it in water and then dip it in water again. So the color fades as I go down the little strip. I got all of them done now, which is, I feel like kind of a massive endeavor. I've got over 100 of the little ink sample vials now. So I've got to catalog these in some way to where I can keep track of them. And I know what inks I actually have. Like I can see them clearly in here, but it involves flipping through back and forth. So I want to possibly digitize this in some way, like on a spreadsheet, like alphabetize it or something. I don't know, but I love having them. And then when I go and change out my ink colors, I can see exactly what I'm choosing from, which is fun. So I really had fun doing this, but it was a long process. Like I had to wait for this to dry, I had to wait for the dip pen to dry, then flip it to the next 8 swatches. And it took multiple days to do this because I'd leave it and then work on another page, I don't know, a few hours later. It was just kind of a constant going back and forth type of process. But I love the way it looks. I love how the water splotches on them. Makes some cool variation, especially like the colors start diffusing and separating out. So much fun. So that was one of my main planner endeavors the last couple of weeks. And now I'm on an ink sample spending freeze. I've got a lot of inks to play with, and I'm going to work on doing the back pages of some of the colors and also just work on being able to write with them. I really enjoy changing out the pen colors from time to time as well. So I just wanted to update you guys since that was like most of my planning time went towards like ink swatching and documenting that. I hope you guys like this video. It's kind of a random all over the place video since I already had filmed that plan with me, or I don't know if I even filmed it. I decorated for the week. I was so organized and on track at the beginning of the week. And I think I just didn't even film it, actually. So yeah, it's just a hot mess express. Hope you guys enjoyed it nonetheless. Have a great day, and I will catch you next time. Bye.